Hey everyone, welcome to your second session of your video messages entitled Fruit of the Spirit. I'm going to start reading to you from Proverbs, so if you want to go ahead and flip your Bibles there to Proverbs chapter 17, we're looking at verse 22. And we're going to be talking about joy. So a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength. So like I said, joy is our topic today, and this isn't going to be something that just happens. This is going to be a choice that you make. And I'm sure at the beginning of your relationship, it was probably pretty easy. You fell in love with that person and you just felt that joy naturally. However, some of you may have lost this. Others might still be living through it. But the best part is, if you've lost it, it's a choice so you can break that cycle and you can start choosing joy again. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about a few ways or tools that you could use to make sure you're choosing joy in your relationship. The first one is to start each day with gratitude. So a lot of us like to hit that snooze button a couple times, and we find ourselves rushing in the morning. And the first thing we're doing is jumping in the shower, rushing to get our coffee and eat our breakfast. I just encourage you to take that time in the morning. Maybe while you can sit down and drink your coffee or eat your breakfast. And I want you to try to allot a little bit of time to think about what you can find that helps you feel joyful towards your wife. So what does she do that makes you feel gratitude? You could either write those down in a journal, or just make the little mental note of it if you're that kind of person that you can do that. And maybe even a little hint here to help make your wives feel that joy is maybe leave a little note in her purse, or maybe put a magnet on the refrigerator of what it is that you're grateful for of her that specific morning. Now, don't just do this once or twice. I would encourage you to do it every day until it becomes kind of just a second nature for you. And there you'll find like the verse said, a cheerful heart or a joyful heart is good medicine. So as time goes on, you're going to start having more of a positive attitude towards life, towards your wife, towards your kids, if you want to do it for your kids as well. I just recommend trying to start the day with that positive note. The second thing is celebrate together with your wife, even the small things. Maybe you got a promotion at work. That's obviously a big one. Most people are generally going to celebrate that. Paying off debt, I know that's a big thing that we're going through right now in our household, is we're getting a lot of our debt paid off, so we like to celebrate not just overall debt, but maybe just each little bill that you pay off. You guys can celebrate that together. Maybe you just made it through a busy week and you want to celebrate that together. And celebrating doesn't mean you have to go elaborate and spend a ton of money. You can just kind of acknowledge these things together, sit down and maybe say like, hey, great job with getting through this week. I know it was tough for you or something. So celebrating doesn't necessarily mean going out and having a big dinner or a fancy feast or anything. It's just acknowledging these moments together. One more, go on dates. And again, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It could be going for a walk. That doesn't cost any money at all. You could, surprise your wife, take her out for a meal or whatever. Some of you who have kids, I know we have kids right now, so it gets kind of tough, and I understand that maybe you just kind of get lost in the hustle and bustle of everything. But when the kids go to bed, maybe have that something special you guys do together after the kids are in bed, and just label it as a date and make sure that you make that time for each other. A lot of times we can get caught up with this thing right here. I know Pastor Brandon just recently talked about it in a sermon on Sunday. You can get caught up in that phone, and the next thing you know is you're trying to find joy in that phone versus in your relationship. So put those down and spend that time together. And last, just grow and pray together. As a husband, you're called to be the man of the house. So it's important for you to take on that role. And that doesn't just mean, being the decision maker or the handyman fixing things, knowing when the oil needs changed in the car, whatever, or protecting from an intruder. You need to protect your family from that spiritual warfare as well. Paul writes how we're in Ephesians. He says how there's a war going on in the spiritual realm, and you need to make sure you're equipping your family with that. So if you're not, I encourage you to read Ephesians chapter 6, I believe it is. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's Ephesians chapter 6. Read that, and Paul will tell you how to equip yourself with being that spiritual leader in your family and how to fend off that spiritual warfare. So have those discussions with your wife and with your children about God and prayer and how to equip yourself in that spiritual warfare. And lastly, I just want you to keep in mind that a lot of these examples, with the exception of that last one, are just those feel-good type joys. they have a short shelf life. So, they might last only a few hours, so you're going to want to keep on doing them. But understand that joy isn't contingent on things going well. Sometimes there's going to be a wrench thrown into your plans. You might have a date night planned, and the enemy comes in and kind of disrupts that. Real joy is going to be dependent on God and keeping God in your home and God in your relationship. Yeah, your wife might make joy for you. She might bring you joy, but the greater joy is going to be in Jesus Christ. And you need to understand that, because without him, you're always going to feel empty. So I just encourage you to try some of those things there that I listed, and have a great week, and try to keep joy in that relationship.